Heyo! Welcome to the Industry Idiots podcast. Turns out you're listening to last week's episode. You can listen to today's episode if you head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/industryidiots. For supporting, you'll get it a week early and access to one Patreon exclusive episode each month. Either way, thank you and enjoy this episode. Bye!
Oh, Sven. Bye.
Yeah. Are you there, Sven? Hi.
I am there. Actually, you made this nice intro already and told the people to turn off. Bye.
Bye.
But for those who are still with us, you're listening to the first Industry Episodes podcast episode after our introduction. So if you're listening it in order, which you probably won't do or will do, I don't know.
Hi, you from 2020. Whoever's there out there in 225.
From the future.
Exactly. Yeah. Man. What happened? What happened in games at the moment? I mean, Valorant just got announced, right? Oh, well, they were announced with Project A, but they just got their official title last week. Valorant. I don't know.
What do you think of the title?
I know it's okay. I'm gonna embarrass myself, and all the League of Legends fans are gonna kill me and stone me. But it's probably a place in the Riot Games universe. I'm guessing, or some faction that is named that way.
Is your fan theory? Or have you actually
I've
heard
no
anything
idea
about that?
I don't like that it doesn't have a shortening, you know? Like when you go like, I want to play CS, and you go like, you want to play CS? Okay, Counter-Strike CS. Or you want to go, like H1Z1 already had that problem. And people were like, Hizzy, want to go play Hizzy?
Hizzy, yeah.
Big oof.
It's probably going to end up something like, I don't know, play V or Rand or
dude,
some
no
abbreviation, which
say
sounds,
V, dude.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous. So you always have to say the long one, Valorant.
Yeah, there's they'll find something, I guess.
Ares would have actually probably been a better name. I don't know. I like Ares. Want to play a round of Ares?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
but it sounds more like a Greek. More like a Greek setting, which this game obviously isn't, if you have anything seen from the art style.
Dude, but it's, yeah, I know. And it's very, oh my God, this is going to spark a heated discussion. About art style. But yeah, the art style is cool. And it's, in my opinion, it's very much like Fortnite, going that same direction. Toon shader or cell shaded hard edges with the shadows. It's pretty cool. It works for all target groups.
I think it's the same mass appeal like Fortnite does, like you just mentioned. But my initial first reaction from all the abilities you see in the game was like, oh, this looks more like Overwatch.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
But like from the like more from the character design perspective, not the environment design perspective. I think it's a nice middle ground between the two. The characters being like the super detailed and the environments being very muted and flat and stuff like that.
Okay, that's fair enough. But I do want to make this distinction. I mean, if we go for Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six, they have abilities. They have shit you can buy, flashbangs, that kind of stuff. Those abilities are gameplay supporting, you know? And I think Valorant is doing the same thing. Their abilities are essentially the utility you can buy in Counter-Strike, and they're essentially Rainbow Six operators' abilities, and they're gameplay supporting. And what Overwatch is doing is the abilities are gameplay defining, and it's all
about.
What you mean
is like they are not stronger than the actual weapons you have, like your standard main attack.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's more like a side effect, from a like using it in a more tactical context and not in a damage dealing context.
Yeah, in the footage we saw, not the one that got released in E3, where the awesome creative director, by the way, what she said about the game. I'm gonna pull up her name and what she said after when you were speaking. But what we saw in the gameplay that was just released last week or yesterday or something, they pushed into the corridor, and there were, just like when you push into a bomb spot on Counter-Strike, there's two angles you need to check, right, left and right, and the character that was showcased spawned a wall. And of course, your first thought is this like Mei from Overwatch? And no, because there's a huge difference in why you're using this wall from Mei and why you're using the wall in Valorant. And in this
What's
showcase,
the usage for Mei in in Overwatch. So I haven't played a lot of Overwatch, so
Okay.
mind
May
explaining
is a
it?
hero. She can, you use her ice wall to essentially block wombo combos coming in, or block off sites. When you're capturing a point, you want to block off the entrance so you can get a few more seconds in. It's an ice wall spawns from the ground and it blocks everything. And I mean, in terms of how they work, they're the same, right? The wall is spawned and it blocks stuff out completely. But in Valorant, you use it like a utility, like a smoke bomb, like a smoke grenade you would use in Counter-Strike. You use it to clear an angle. Because your gunplay is the most important. You one shot in the head, just like in Counter-Strike. You come around the corner, you use it like a smoke grenade. You use it to zone off an area that you then do not have to peek. And that's gameplay supporting in my book. You know?
That's true. I'm actually, while we are talking about it, I'm actually looking at some gameplay footage of it. And it's perfectly described from you how this actually fits. There's this one ability that looks like some, from the first view, it looks like some kind of poison cloud thing you can throw that makes damage, but it's actually just to completely block off your vision and doesn't have any damage effects from what I can see from the footage. So what I like about the abilities is that they like immediately, similarly to let's say, well, it's actually a bad example. I wanted to mention League of Legends, where I rarely see where like all the abilities are matched together and you barely can't really see what is going on if you have a 5 versus 5 team fight going on. And in this one, the abilities look a lot more like unique or distinctive and not just like a tiny little bit of particle effect. It's like this huge map changing, map defining abilities, even though they don't have a damage effect or something like that. They have this like standing out colors as well, so you can like right from half across the map actually see what's going on. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just checked up her name, by the way. It's Anna Donlon. And I think her nickname, at least that's what it reads on the screen, is Supercakes. So sorry, Anna, if I pronounce your name wrong, but she is a visionary lead, or she's pretty high up in the project and how it's being made. And she showcased the first. She was commentating on the first reveal trailer, right? Where they specifically, not only the gameplay supporting abilities that we talked about now, but she specifically mentioned, and this will now, every Counter-Strike player who's listening, Counter-Strike player, sorry, German slipping in, every Counter-Strike player who's listening right now your heart will just, jump, because it's amazing, because Valve has been deaf to our wishes for so long. We still don't have 128 tick service in matchmaking, which is a disaster after so many years and so much money involved.
Yeah, I agree.
And she mentioned the service. They want high tick rate service. She is saying that cheater protection is the #1 concern. And like on paper, how many times did you guys get killed by a spinbot? Right? How can this even happen?
Often enough, yeah. But that's actually exactly what's smart on Riot's part, because like the CS has this super dedicated, super loyal fan base and like runs on every computer, and they are making sure that it actually also runs on every computer. That's why the graphic isn't like looking like Crysis or something like that, or like the newest Unreal Engine title. It has to run on every computer, and you have to have some arguments to make people switch from their dedicated, from their main game, basically. And when you give them something the CS players have been asking for ages, that's the way you get them.
The CS players are so frustrated. Yeah, and they know it. They know, and this is amazing. I mean, yes, it's marketing. Yes, as you said, they want to win over players and they want to win over competitive core players. But it's amazing that they are listening. And as we know from Riot, even love or hate them, but they frequently update their games. It's not like in Counter-Strike where you don't get an update for 2 years. Okay, where I think the longest gap between operations is 1.5 years or 2 years. It's freaking crazy.
But to be fair, Valve got a lot better with it in the last 2 years, I think. Like making smaller content drops, not the big ones, like every 2 months you get an operation or something. More like, you get a map rework in this patch, and the next patch has a weapon rework, a small one, like those small content drips or something like that. But touching on what you said before, like the two founders of Riot, Mark Merrill and Brandon, sorry, butchered his name, But both back in 2006, I read an interview with them when they founded Riot Games, and that's one of the things they actually said what they wanted to do with Riot. They want to make few games. Now they're doing 7 games, but they want to make few games.
Few. I mean, it's 7 games.
It's 7 games, yeah, easy. With 1,000 employees or something like that, you can pull that off, sure.
Yeah,
but what they wanted to do is like, what they want to set and what they followed through with League of Legends is basically that they wanted to make games which they support for a long time. And when they have this commitment from the beginning for Valorant, I actually can see people switching over to it when you have this long-term commitment of a live service game. When you get frequent content updates. So that's actually pretty smart on them to keep in line with their company directive or their like mission they had from the beginning.
I mean, I see myself switching over too. I mean, all of our play group, my friends, everyone who like competitively plays, they've all moved on to other games, Tarkov and like
Siege.
all the of course, Siege. And what I hear is, oh my god, I wanna play Project A. When does it come out? What's happening? Can I test it? This looks promising. Of course, you don't want to get too hyped, but it looks very promising. And there's also an additional thing that I very much like that I heard her say as in the reveal as well, which is fucking Pika's advantage and taking care of interpolation. Because as some of you know, in Counter-Strike, there's something called CS Interpol or whatever, and what it does is it syncs the server and the client. And this often leads to problems because obviously if someone is standing at a corner and is continuously sending updates to the server where on his position, and so let's just take a point in time. Someone is standing at the corner aiming at a specific spot, okay? He's standing still. And then at the same point in time, someone is standing behind that corner this person is aiming at, waiting to push out. All right? What happens now? There's a package being sent from the player camping at the corner aiming to the server, and the server analyzes it and sends it back and sends it to all players on the server. And on the other side, there's this player standing behind the corner doing the same thing. Server's doing the same thing. And now the player behind the corner starts running out. What happens? Like you as a player, you immediately see yourself running out, right? Because you don't want to feel sluggish. So there's nothing. This is client-based movement. So you walk out of the door, and the server has transmitted you the player's position on the corner throughout the entire time of you standing behind that door. And then when you walk out, of course, you already have the information that this player is standing there without the server needing to give you an update. But for the other player standing at the corner, he needs to receive an update first that you are coming now, right? And this oftentimes, people who have a bad ping or have medium good ping, leads to them getting fucking tracked before they can react. And them addressing this in the first big reveal, I mean, you have so many things to push, from art style to community, whatever, but you choose to push something like Pika's advantage and network and netcode, and this is just very promising.
Yeah, they're pushing something that probably only the hardcore CS players have heard of. Like most people that are playing matchmaking don't even recognize that there's something like Pika's adventure. They completely complain about, I shot him first, something like that. And if they're really trying to appeal to the hardcore competitive group, that's what you can see, like from all aspects they put out there. Even like the people working on them, they have hired some, like I think there's this one level designer, Volcano is his name. He's now senior game designer for the Riot Project A, now Valorant thing. He made like one of the most successful Counter-Strike maps, Cache. It's here, how's he called? Volcano.
Oh, he's working on Valorant.
He's the senior game designer for the game, and also is super involved in how the game's created. And I think you can actually see the influence from what they are doing. If you look at the minimap, and what you've seen from this one first map, it looks like super similar to how the Counter-Strike maps are made. You have like the bomb spots or objective spots, you have this laning, you have the points where both attacking and defending side meet at some point during the map. You have the spawn zones, and it's more like corridor, open area, and then similarly to how the cache map is designed.
So
you can
a similar game
see
flow.
the influences.
Yeah, and I mean, you would know, right? Because you've built a lot of Counter-Strike maps yourself. And your specialty in game design is fucking level design. So if you like it, that's a good sign.
Yeah, from I haven't played anything of it because it's still like closed alpha or beta or something. But
I don't even know if is it even closed alpha? I don't think they went into closed alpha yet. They have an official website now.
Inviting a lot of like, again, touching on the point that they're catering to the professional and matchmaking and competitive oriented players. They're inviting a lot of people from the competitive Counter-Strike community and all the other competitive games.
Oh yes,
all the casters from
right?
CS,
yeah.
Henry G, and they all made some like buzzword marketing on Twitter, talking about their experiences about the game and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I read the Henry G thing. Maybe we can just pull it out because
if
very
quickly enough.
Yeah, very promising again what Henry G wrote. Keep entertaining the people. I will pull that up.
Henry G, the good old caster for CS. Oh, I got so much memories when we went back to the ESL 1 in Cologne and watched him cast there. It was pretty nice. It's actually pretty nice when you do the transition from being a professional. I mean, he was a professional CS player before he went to be a caster. So at first you might wonder, why is the opinion of a caster who hasn't been a professional player even relevant here? But he has been a professional player before, played CS professionally. And I think they also invited like tons of other CS players to check out the game to get feedback and stuff like that.
He was okay. I found the tweets, and one of the big things we were worried about that we already talked about in this episode was the fear of the abilities being gameplay defining and missing the entire economy system from Counter-Strike and similar games, right? We want this strategic buying of equipment or buying of abilities or however you want. So Henry G got a private playtest on the February 11th of 2020, and he says, generally speaking, I'm quoting, generally speaking, abilities primarily need to be purchased at the start of the round instead of earned over time with the same economy reservoir as the weaponry. So the abilities really act as utility does in Counter-Strike. So you also have to buy them. You also have to save up money to get them in the rounds. You have probably economy rounds. And that's very, very cool to read. And a second,
did you mention anything of like relating to the abilities, like having some skill tree stuff, or is it like everyone can buy the same abilities? Is it are those abilities specifically bound to the character, or does the character have like 5 abilities he can choose 3 from?
There's both.
Is there
actually
a pool of 20 abilities and all the characters can choose 3 from the pool of 20?
As far as I know, it's both. Like the characters have their own like abilities that define them, but also the utility abilities that you can unlock. The question is if the utility abilities are shared. I don't know that if they're shared or if you just unlock your own abilities. But what Henry wrote on this is, in my opinion, these aforementioned classes, and this is very nice to hear, and their unique abilities should be seen as tactical utility instead of potentially overpowered spell ultimate combination that other class-based games suffer from. And this is such a fucking godsend. This is exactly how I feel. And in another tweet, now coming back to what Sven said earlier about the map design, he wrote, one of the most exciting elements of the game to me was the map design. They have been beautifully created and follow Counter-Strike-esque familiar lanes and choke points, and with the focus on gameplay and substance and not with making beautiful. I don't want to hate on Overwatch. It's a cool game. It's very arcadey, so it's not my style of game, but it's beautiful. Has a lot of players, but the maps are designed to, just offer a fun experience and less of a competitive esports experience. And that's
the same vibe I'm also getting from the Valorant maps, or from that one map they are pushing all the time. I haven't seen the other maps, but from what I've seen from Overwatch, you have a lot of, I think, or Rainbow Six Siege, you have a lot of environmental clutter, you can say. Like the walls are too detailed, so your eyes get distracted too easily. And here in Valorant, in the map, all the walls like maybe have 1 or 2 very subtle textures, very muted colors, so the characters pop out in front of the walls. That's the same problem what Counter-Strike now had after they have introduced like these special skins recently.
I know already what you were going to say.
Like Cash, which got a remark, which was super colorful, and then you have this Navy SEAL with a super colorful outfit. you couldn't even spot them anymore. And that shouldn't be in a competitive shooter where it's like every millisecond counts, your reaction times counts, your skill and situational awareness, what you see in the map. That should be like the main priority. And I think with the design they have gone there, you can actually easily spot everything that's going on in a fight or in a situation that you like have easily readable gameplay situations.
Yeah, that's true. And you touched on a subject just now that is very dear to my heart as a game creator as well. I mean, our studio, for example, we are 100% no microtransactions. And what you just said is, I mean, this is the skins were always okay in the Counter-Strike community and Team Fortress and whatever, because they were only cosmetic, right? And people are generally, I think the general player base of all games is generally okay with microtransactions being purely cosmetic. And this is where it starts, right? When you can buy a skin, a player skin, like in the new Counter-Strike skins, that blend in with the environment, effectively giving you a gameplay advantage, then we're already touching dark pattern territory. That shouldn't happen. And if you share our or my opinion on don't put gameplay behind money, this should never be the case.
Yep, definitely agree with you there.
And if you look at like how is probably like look at League of Legends, how is Valorant probably going to be monetized, right? Valorant is I'm almost 110% sure that they are going for the free to play buy skins business model, buy bling bling, right? And
yep.
I'd prefer like is there a better way? Is there a better way of monetization? Because let's just drop pay to win off the table. I mean, it's very big in the Chinese market, but I do not see the appeal of pay to winning.
I mean, each game, even if it is incorporated in a not direct way, but more indirect way, let's look at Star Wars Battlefront from 2017. It had loot crates where you could like buy star cards, and that made your abilities just a tiny bit better, but still better. And it's still pay to win. And the people completely erupted about the game.
They lost their shit. Yeah,
they lost their shit. It was the most downvoted Reddit comment in history, just talking about the progression locked behind paywalls and about the star card system and the loot crate system and stuff like that.
I can already picture the guy in charge of the microtransactions at EA or at DICE, and at that point he's like, oh, you know what we need? We need the game literally yelling at you, and probably in his fucking fantasy, if you start the game, there's gonna be advertisements everywhere, and then the game just yells slot machine sounds at you, and you have these spinning circles from a slot machine before you can even hit the play button. And your keyboard just extends, and there's like a coin tray and more buttons coming out of your keyboard you didn't even know existed. So you can throw in
like
more
in
money.
An arcade hall.
Yeah, exactly. No. And there's fucking advertisements coming out of all of your equipment, and you didn't even know they were there. This is the future of games.
This is
like
dystopian future of games at some point. I mean,
and you just
if you look at the future of VR,
let me just finish this
advertising. Okay, finish this then.
You sit you sit in front of your computer and you're just yelling at the game that you want to play, but the game can't hear you. It's just more and more microtransactions coming your way.
Unlock game time with money. I think that's probably the worst way to monetize your game. If you have to pay for being able to play. Yeah. That's crazy.
Was that what you wanted to say? Sorry, when I was finishing my retarded joke.
Now you touched on like advertising in games and stuff like that. And there's some games that have done that before, like huge open world games where you have this, if it adds to the overall world atmosphere, it's okay. But if it's like super misplaced, I can't actually remember which game it was, but there was one game that had like an advertising billboard in an open world. Was it Watch Dogs or something? I don't know. I don't want to how do you say it? I'm lacking the English word for it.
What you looking for? Tell me in German.
No, I don't want to attack a certain game for doing that, because it's a low-key way to monetizing it.
Yeah.
But if it pulls you out of the game world you are in, that you instantly recognize that it's an advert for something that doesn't belong in the overall world and world design context, that is not okay. But if it's like something artistic, maybe let's say Coca-Cola in a 60s design in the Fallout games, I would be more willing to accept that than Coca-Cola in their modern design put into Fallout.
I have a great example actually in Sea of. I'm currently playing Sea of Thieves with the Plague Doctor's crew. We just pushed out a video that is inspired by Soviet Bumble, by the way. Check that out. Have a laugh with us. They have an in-game shop as well that you can spend real money on. By the way, all progression in the game is cosmetic, which is interesting. But they have this real-life shop, and you can, for example, buy a potion, like a wicked potion that is inspired by this mythic faction, and it allows you to change your appearance. And this makes sense in-game world, but it costs you real money. And it's okay that it costs you real money because they have to monetize somehow. Actually, even is it okay to have monetized content in a non-free-to-play game? In my opinion, no. If the game costs $60, I don't want to buy skins for real money as well.
Yeah, I feel the same. I don't want to be able to... I mean, if it's only accessible via money, then it sucks. But for example... bringing up Battlefront again as an example, you can unlock everything normally, but you of course can buy the in-game currency. And for me, I bought the game on release for 70 euros and I still couldn't spend money in the game once they re-enabled the microtransactions. But for people who can't put in, I don't know, let's say 400, 500 hours into the game and still want to have all the skins and stuff like that, and they use that as a way to get faster to the content. If it's only cosmetic, it's okay. If it's gameplay defining, then obviously sucks. But let's say you are in your 40s, you're working a full-time job, have a family, you maybe can only play once a week for 2 hours or something. Do you want to wait half a year until you have that one skin you really want to have? Or do you think it's okay that somebody can pay maybe 20 euros and then has the stuff?
That's a Chinese argument on actual pay to win, interesting enough. They're like, I only have 1 hour to play in my work week. I want to be able to pay, so I'm as good as the players who spent their entire day playing. And of course, I think that's unethical and that shouldn't be the case. But in terms of skins, I tend to agree, because I always, about Overwatch's monetization system, I didn't like that you couldn't buy the skins you wanted. So if you didn't play regularly and there's this loot box coming out for a special event, this loot box is only available for a month, and you only... I'm going to pick up a meme here. You only play Hanzo exclusively and you want that Hanzo skin, right? You can't, because you have to buy so many loot boxes until RNG bestows it upon you, or you have enough credits to unlock it. So just let me buy the skin directly.
The direct buy is the main part, I think, which makes it a lot more acceptable than having the randomized loot you get.
Or you do both.
Actually knowing what you spent your money in, and actually, okay, I can see I spent 5 euros, I can get either this or that, and not like from a collection of 20 items. That's, of course, that's gambling.
Yeah, and not prey on people. Not prey on people's addiction. I mean, of course, it's everyone's own fault if they get addicted to fucking skin gambling. But on the other hand, it's also extremely unethical and unfair from the company to even do that in the first place. I mean, look at Epic. Cool what Epic Games is doing, but why are they rich? Because they made a skin system so appealing that people just couldn't get away from it. And they spent all their money, all their parents' money on the fucking skins. And I don't know.
Some dark patterns at work there.
There's a lot of dark patterns. Just the entire building, how the shop works, like that it's seasonal. Like there's this thing called what was it again? FOMO. It's a concept in psychology. It's called FOMO. It's fear of missing out. And this is what they're building into the shop. Is you can only access it for 7 days, and then after 7 days it has a new inventory, and you don't know when the shit is coming back. Like most of the time it comes back like 6-7 months after. So you don't log. So they make you feel that, okay, if I don't log in now, I can't see the shop, and I'm gonna miss my favorite skin, and that's how they make you addicted.
But coming back to Riot Games, I think League of Legends is doing the same for like seasonal skins. If you look at the Christmas skins, you cannot. If I recall it correctly, I don't want to say anything wrong here, but back in the day when we still played it actively, you would only be able to buy the Halloween or the Christmas skins during the Christmas season. You could still wear them at any time, but it played directly into this phenomenon of fear of missing out, that you have to buy it now and you don't want to wait on it, so you get pressured into the buy decision. Do you think they're going to do the same for Valorant?
Definitely.
Having seasonal skins, or
the thing is,
themed limited time event skins and stuff like that.
Me hating FOMO, let that be. Seasonal skins are something like when they're not like happening as hard and frequently as in Fortnite, and it's actually about the holiday. I actually kind of like that because it just gives you this homey feeling. Because when I was playing Counter-Strike and Dota, and they don't do any Christmas or Halloween events, I'm bummed out, you know, because I enjoy holidays. I enjoy indulging in the festivities, and when I game with my mates, I also want to indulge in the festivities, and getting a nice Christmas skin to use while it's Christmas time. It's cool.
But does it have to be only be available for a limited time?
That's a good question, man.
Prey type thing.
Yeah, it's very
trying to pull off in the most of the games.
And I realized that I'm being a hypocrite.
Even in Rainbow Six, a full price game where they sell the season pass each year for 30 euros, even then they still have additional on top of that, even though you have maybe spent 40 euros at launch. Then for each year you spend 30 euros and you still don't have every skin they put in there because they have limited time events that still require you to play and pay. So
yeah, and
on top of your season pass.
I haven't bought any skins in 3 years. But back in the day, I had a fucking 400 euro knife in Counter-Strike. Admittedly, I pulled it out of my like 13th crate, but I had expensive skins, and a few of my friends who are my age or a little bit younger, they spend all of their money on skins. They buy everything they can, and I already know that they will love Valorant, and they'll drop all their cash on skins for Valorant. And dude, this just reminds me of that. Have you guys heard of, or have you heard of the patent that Infinity Ward or Call of Duty has on matchmaking? Their patent.
Activision is thingy that they match you with people who have better or more expensive loot.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially how matchmaking works, you press the search button. Let's just imagine you're solo queuing. So you press the search button and you're in the middle of the field. They put you in the middle of the field. So let's say your elo is 200. So they put 4 people in the team with you. The highest one will have 230 and the lowest one will have 170, 180. And you're at 200 in the middle. So, and what they will also additionally track is the skin level of people. So they will always try to make the one that is higher elo than you also have a higher skin level. So they will have, they are better at the game at this current state, at their experience level, and they have better skins. And what they will also do is they will put they will put in the enemy team the one that has 230 skill, which is higher skill than you because they're balancing the teams, right? This guy will also have skins, and they will make sure that the lowest guy in your team has no skins. So you subconsciously
also have this phenomenon of looking up to people, they do better, and it's because of their skins, and that makes you want to buy the skins as well, right?
Yeah, it's super dark pattern. I don't even want to talk about it. This patent is online. You can Google it. You'll find it. It's crazy. It's crazy that these kind of things are being built in. And you'll never notice as a player. It's just subconsciously just showing in statistically the player who's best on your team is just always going to have cool skins. And you're just going to associate cool skins with skill and no skins with no skill.
Yeah, because you, of course, always look at the players who do best because you want to improve your own game normally.
Yeah, if you're a competitive
player. Sport some specific skin or sport some additional stuff you need to unlock with money, then you also get the feeling, okay, damn it, to be as good as him, I need this, I want this. And then you already made the decision. It's the same with the influencer phenomena.
And then you meme yourself.
You become basically a digital game influencer by having skins.
Yeah,
because you have this fancy thing some other people don't have access to.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a way to. I mean, this entire culture of our way of living right now. All the people that are our age. It's this flexing culture, just flexing on everybody. Oh, I got 200 euros to put disposable income. Look at my fucking skins. I'm flexing my skins and my skill. So this is how people flex now in the games world. They just buy shitty skins to impress people.
Impress and also express themselves.
That is a fair point. I mean, that's the only thing that I can get behind, expressing yourself. I mean,
If everyone has the same weapons, same abilities, where's your room to express yourself? And player expression is like such a huge part of continued engagement for service games or games in general.
Even
non-RPGs. You want to look like the badass guy from the movies and stuff like that.
Or if you're a goofy guy, you want to have a funny character. You just want to have an essence of yourself in the character, or explore a side of you that you normally can't explore. For example, if we look at it that way, that's true. It's just.
Or do you think, relating or getting back to Valorant here, that in order to express yourself or have some player expression, additionally to skins, do you see other ways they could monetize the game? Maybe have skins for abilities or different ways? Like, okay, we have emotes. Emotes are like the most basic thing of
it will definitely
yourself.
have emotes, 100%. What I'm thinking is, will they have gameplay affecting color changes? Because this has always been a debate that was going on in Dota. Some skins are so heavily changing the character, all its abilities, all its VFX, colors, that a new player will not recognize this hero as the same hero. They just say this Arcana skin that costs 40 euros. I mean, you spend for 40 euros. It's such a unique thing and such a special event that this Arcana skin is being released that people know about it, and so they can adapt. But the thing is,
I completely agree.
Yeah, with something like Dota, I understand, because the bird's eye chess perspective, where you can see the characters and you already see all the characters when queuing up, so you know who's in the enemy team, blah blah blah. But is it the same in an FPS, in an action shooter? Can you react to something that is like? Have you ever changed your color settings in PUBG, for example? I changed my color settings to colorblind mode because I wanted blue or orange blood, and I was so fucking confused. I'm a good player, I would say, but I was so confused immediately. It felt so different.
That's where great art direction and good level design and environment art comes in, that you have like, even in the environments, in the weapons, in the abilities, in the characters, you all have a clear color coding that you can distinguish who's an enemy and who's on your team. It's like, if you look at Halo from 20 years ago, you had the blue soldiers, you had the red soldiers, blue team, red team. And if that isn't even on a subtle level reflected on in the newer games in Valorant, then I can see a problem. If suddenly all the abilities maybe have a blue or green tint, and you always associate this blue and green with your own team, and then you can change your ability to have a red tint, and you all of a sudden you think, oh, that's probably the wall of some enemy. And
I mean,
they should be careful.
That's damage coding. Yeah, they shouldn't change. That's my opinion as well. I mean, we in our game, we use orange, or like this orange gold color, to indicate danger. So the player automatically, without making the game easy or hand holding, we make the player understand that this is a source of damage, even though they don't know how this damage source works yet. And I feel like the same should be true for the VFX and the special and everything that's related to one character. They should not sell a skin for a green character with poison stuff that makes the poison cloud orange. That should not be the case. That's my opinion. But for if I wouldn't mind if the VFX itself would be different. You know, you have this poison cloud that's green, and you know it's that ultimate, but it also, you can have a digital poison cloud that looks like it's digitalized, but it's still green. So I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
But I think League of Legends also has kind of the same thing going on. Just if you maybe compare Ezreal as a character, there's the super expensive, mega fancy Pulsefire Ezreal skin, and then there's the other Ezreal skins. And with his Pulsefire Ezreal skin, where he looks like in a spacesuit and everything has digitalized VFX and stuff like that, you almost can't recognize him as the same character, because the VFX looks different, the character model looks different, even animations of how this character moves also looks different. So like you said, for new players, it would be super confusing.
Yeah, they would be thinking, is this a different carry? And then I can hear them asking in the well, we're not up to date with League of Legends. It might be that Ezreal is not even a carry anymore, or whatever. We are old, okay? We've played the game when it came out. We played it back in, what was it, 2009, October. I literally had the fucking alpha or beta installed and played Master Yi exclusively. There were only a handful of heroes back then. And
I
so
think our high time was around 2012 or 13 when we even went to Gamescom and got all the free skins as younger people and waiting in line to get this Graves and Ramos skins. And
I still have the stack. I have like 50 of those skins. We wanted to sell them on eBay, but we never did.
So you haven't redeemed them?
No, not redeemed them.
Or haven't sold them, just as have some memorabilia or something?
They don't work anymore, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't sell them. And dude, I would give them to people, but they're at home. They're not here in Berlin right now. By the way, when we're saying old, Sven and me are 25, around 25. So we're not old, just saying. But we are
10
old.
years ago, we were like teens.
Yeah.
Like 14, 15. That was the high point of League of Legends, I'd say. Like, for me personally, now I got to this huge esport filling stadiums and crowds. And it's obviously not the high point for the game. But for me, the high point in the game was about the time I finished high school. And
because we had most time to play, right? We could play.
Most time to play, yeah, true.
So there wasn't a lot of like responsibilities yet, and now we have all this stuff going on, and it's getting harder and harder to find the time to play competitive games, because you don't have to grind them because there's no content to unlock, but you have to grind them to get good if you care about getting good, right?
Which you obviously do.
I do, yeah, I do a lot, and so it's actually a struggle to balance life and like all your other hobbies that you might have together with.
I think that's one of the most relatable things everyone is enduring, that your backlog of stuff you want to play is filling up so quickly. You're having all these different services. I'm subscribed to PS Plus. I'm subscribed to Humble Bundle,
Ultimate Xbox Game Pass,
Ultimate Xbox Game Pass, and then also the sales that happen every 2 weeks and something. And you see this game, oh, it's a super discount. I want to have it. And now, I don't know, it gets way too much. I never will be able to play all of it, even if I start now and just play through of it. So I find myself getting more towards games that are not offering too much content. Like, for example, I recently stopped playing Assassin's Creed Origins because after 24 hours, I still felt like I'm nowhere near the end. And I don't actually, even though the world is cool and the gameplay is fun in itself, I don't want to spend 60 hours in Egypt. I can also spend the next 30 hours in Greece playing the next Assassin's Creed. But
yeah, true. And also, most of the time, it's like reading a book. I mean, you want to get immersed in the world, and it always takes you like 5, 10, 15 minutes to get into it, right? And if you only have a half an hour between, or an hour or 2 hours between gym and your other hobbies and painting, whatever you're doing, and working, of course. I mean, we're doing the podcast, whatever you're doing out there. You can't immerse yourself in a game like Assassin's Creed in that time. And so what do? You pull up a game that's short-lived, right? You pull up a round of Counter-Strike, or maybe a round of Dota Turbo, or I don't know,
something that only takes an hour and you can quickly fill in.
Yeah, or that new Riot made Underlords Dota chess kind of game. Yes, Teamfight Tactics, exactly. Man, I'm embarrassingly uninformed when it comes to Riot games. Except Valorant.
I mean,
love that.
They make like 20 games now, so you can't stay up to date with all of their games.
Thank you for normalizing my missing knowledge. I love that. Okay, but
the main point I want to make is that I find myself buying games that I know beforehand that they only take 2 or 3 hours. Some indie games, for example, the last one I bought was like Suicide of Rachel Foster, which is some indie game that takes about 2 or 3 hours to complete. Only costs like, I don't know, 12 or 13 euros. But the 2 or 3 hours you play are super polished, that you don't have a low moment, that you can play it basically in one setting. It's the same phenomenon as playing a movie, and you play through it and then you're done with it and you can get a new experience. But the 2 or 3 hours you play are like super polished. You have no low points, and I find myself getting a lot of these types of things because you can actually finish games. And I will never be able to finish Origins probably because I have so many other games I want to play as soon as possible, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. Dude, I think everyone can relate to that out there. And we all struggle with our time management, definitely. But we kind of drifted off from the question we wanted to solve. What is the best monetization method? Right? What is the fairest to do? And I think we kind of agree on going with skins, pay for cosmetics, and not pay to win. Nothing with gameplay impacting stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely the base foundation. And probably that
no gambling,
you
please.
use as less or as few dark patterns as possible. All this stuff that tries to exploit or force you into buying something without actually offering a bigger worth or something in being the product itself, then I find myself disliking that as well.
But where's the ethical line? I mean, you have to make money we know, right? We have to make money as a game developer, and like how look at CDPR, for example. I mean, they're the second biggest studio in Europe right now with only one essential game that made them all that money, which is just Witcher 3. And arguably, there's no predatory things in there. They delivered a sick ton of free content. Their game is a one-time purchase, has no microtransactions, no gambling. You can buy 2 DLCs, and that's it. And they made a shit ton of money. So obviously, it's possible.
Which are the size of full games themselves.
Oh yeah, the DLCs are size. Exactly.
Even Blood and Wine, 20 hours or something.
So I think the excuse that EA pushed out at the beginning as well, that yeah, we need to make money, we need to sustain our company, is not as valid as like just make a good game, right? And it will sell. And then of course you can make more money if you put in dark patterns and make people addicted to your payment system, but that's not the ethical way to go. And I think there was this huge push back in the day for labels on games that include microtransactions, just like on a smoking label. It's like, this gives you lung cancer. Yeah. I would love something like this.
Gives you microtransaction cancer.
Yeah, this is prone to addiction or careful predatory payment systems or something. And I'm 100% for that. I feel like the consumer shouldn't be taken advantage of. The consumers should be, I love playing games. I want to play this game, and I don't want to buy this game just to find out that I'm being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And also it serves not only as a protection for grown-up people, but also for teens and stuff like that. We have this age restriction labels as well to protect younger people from seeing stuff they shouldn't encounter. And then this way we could protect younger people from buying stuff they shouldn't buy, or making purchase decisions. I can't speak English.
Purchase decisions.
Purchase decisions, exactly, without being in a grown up enough to make this decision, not being influenced by something.
You know, I mean, it's the same with gambling. And if you go to a casino, or you cannot go in until you have a certain age. And even then, dude, there's 28-year-olds who have a fantastic job who ruin their career because they get addicted to gambling. So this is something that happens. And if you design something to make you as addicted as gambling, but with additional play factors and with additional bling bling, and it's looking great, it's just hitting all your receptors, and that's fucking predatory. Shouldn't happen.
No, that definitely shouldn't happen. That's true. I agree.
But let's not drift away from our hype for Valorant. And I'm really looking forward to trying this game out at some point in the near future, hopefully.
And will definitely be easy to try out, since of course free to play. So it's just again a smart decision from Riot, giving everyone. Is it confirmed?
Is it confirmed that it's free to play? It's just my guess.
I don't think it's confirmed, but it's also my guess as well. So then I'm retracting my sentence.
Well, let's just say it's confirmed, guys. It's our opinion, so it's confirmed. Easy.
Yeah, starting a shitstorm to Riot when it's not actually free to play. That's how it works. Yeah. Awesome. I'm actually hoping, which will probably not happen because they're not Valve or don't have a supportive foundation like the Steam Workshop or something. But I would be hoping that they're, along with the game, they're also publishing authoring tools or something like that, that you can create maps for Valorant. I'm not sure if they're going to do that because I don't think Overwatch has it. They don't have it, and Rainbow Six don't have it.
But they see, I mean, if you just said earlier the maker from Cash is involved and everything. I can't see them hiring specifically map makers of a game that is super popular and they're obviously inspired by, and not adapting their good practices. And I think allowing empowering creators to make their own maps and even build careers out of that. I mean, people have made mods for Witcher and they've become quest designers at their company. And this is exactly the same probably with the creative Cash. He made maps and now he's working in a game studio. So I don't see them like canceling that.
I mean, Riot comes from the same background. The two founders were involved in Defense of the Ancients for the original Dota mod. So you would guess they are supportive of it. So, I mean...
But there's one difference. They're protecting the IP more, I guess, because Counter-Strike never cared. I mean, they allow all kinds of slurs as names. They never cared. But if you make a map for League of Legends and... sorry, not League of Legends, but in the League of Legends universe, then you need to adhere to their art style, right? Probably even the community modes and maps. So it's probably going to be very restrictive.
Valve has always been one special part of the modding and mapping community. Like half of the games are based on popular mods or maps that came before and have been made in Source Engine. So it's actually also a chance for Riot Games to see if they can add to their 20 games they're making the next 20 games and find cool ideas stemming from modding tools or authoring tools in general.
Yeah, it's also a good question if they will have mods, because Dota is currently, or has had for a while now, custom mods. Like you can play game modes that only exist on these custom arcade mods, and Counter-Strike has a million of those, right? You can pirate wars and mini games and serve.
But to be fair, all these mods don't have a place in the competitive and official side of Counter-Strike. So all these mods are on unofficial servers, basically, or private servers and stuff like that. There are rarely or exclusively no mods in the competitive side of things. So all the official maps that are being played in the competitive side are from Valve themselves.
No,
or
not really.
There's one exception, the Cash thing coming from Volcano, the guy working on Valorant. I think that's the one exception.
It depends on what you classify as mods, because Counter-Strike allows configs and allows altering what the server's settings are, and that is a mod, right? So when you play ESL, or if you play ESEA, or if you play any of the other Faceit tournaments, they have their own configs. They have their own configs and their own settings, and the round length is 60 seconds and not 90 seconds. And this is what in a different game would classify as a mod. But since Valve has opened those ports up to just be edited in a config, we have to see if this will be possible in Valorant for tournament hosts to change the settings of their game.
I don't think Riot Games will be supporting that, because just if you look at League of Legends, the whole esports side is completely managed by them. There are basically no competitive.
They rule with an iron hand. Yeah.
Yeah, they rule with an iron hand. So if they don't open it up, they're completely in control of the esports side of things from Valorant, and they will completely control how that system will work, the ecosystem of the competitive scene.
I mean, as long as they don't go... Oh, by the way, I think it's called Iron Fist. But whatever, we make up our own shit. But I think it's as long as it doesn't devolve. I'm gonna say this like the Overwatch League, where it's a closed-off ecosystem and they're literally controlling every single part of the system. Then I'm fine with that. I mean, Counter-Strike always had the problem that the player base is split. There's people who support that kind of playstyle, other people who support that playstyle. And server settings, and there's this huge camp mentality. If you play ISEA, you have these different problems where there was a Bitcoin miner hidden in the client one time. And
what?
Yeah,
first time I heard about that.
When you just Google it. If you play ESEA back in the day, you had to download this anti-cheat client of theirs because Valve again didn't supply one, and as far as I know, there was at some point a Bitcoin miner hidden inside the cheat protection client.
That's shady.
And this can't happen if everything is sanctioned and official, right? And if everyone has to use the same settings, the servers are hosted on actually Riot servers, easy peasy.
But a huge part of Counter-Strike becoming so popular, becoming so huge, is the community basically building up themselves, building what they have themselves, having competitive tournament organizers that are not the developer of the game, trying to support or set up different events. And like generally generate hype around it by creating all the stuff related to the game themselves.
Yeah, it brings its own set of unique problems. I mean, you see it in League of Legends or Dota all the time. Counter-Strike tournaments are priced at like 100,000, 200,000 that you can earn as a winning team, the majors. And if you look at games like League of Legends with $1 million tournaments, or Dota with $10 million, even more tournaments, where the prize pool is funded by the players, it all depends, just like with a good creative director, with leader of a studio like in CDPR, it depends on if the lead is good. If the people in charge of making the closed-off Valorant competitive ecosystem good are making it good, then it's going to be amazing that they have this control. But if they are not gonna make it cool, then it's gonna be terrible that they have this control. And in Counter-Strike, you could go against that by creating community content, mods, tournaments that are then good. It depends on the leadership.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't think Riot Games will actually run into any problems with this game, because so far everything they showed from it showed that they actually care and listen to people and want to build this for the future and build it actually as a CS challenger. So right now they are actually super like successful with their marketing strategy, because I'm buying into it.
I'm buying into it as well.
You're buying into it as well, yeah.
And what Anna said in the preview when it was still called Project A is amazing. It's all promising to be or to go for great things. Hopefully it will happen. And I'm definitely hyped. And I think there was I read a thing on LinkedIn. Let me just pull it up. I've already got it. That's written by, I don't know, I don't want to leak names, but he's a senior producer at Riot Games. And he was pushing David Cole, who's also working at Riot Games, to be amazing, because David Cole is one of the reasons why this project didn't die. And he's just saying that people need to know that 100% of his effort went to the game and team, and he made hundreds of deep personal sacrifices so the game can happen. He recentered the team, and he kept the audience at the heart of the game and polished the message. And he's among a lot of, like a handful of people who really believe in Valorant to be the experience that it's going to be. And we still hope for Valorant to be that competitive shooter to unite the regions, and there's a lot of work left to fulfill that vision, blah, blah, blah. And they're all very passionate, you know? The entire team behind Valorant and behind Project A, they're so passionate about the project and about this world they're building. So I'm very confident it's going to be an amazing experience, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. And being the next game we're going to play for 600 or 1,000 hours.
Yeah, you're gonna notice. You're gonna notice if we like the game, because we're gonna talk about it on the podcast a couple times, probably drop some memes here and there. So that's awesome. If you're gone
for a week and then you come back and everyone is playing that game, that's always a nice experience.
Yeah, that's so true. I don't know, and I think company-wise, Riot Games has improved tremendously as well. I mean, they had this walkout half a year ago, which was a disaster. But other than that, I only hear good things. I've got a few friends working at Riot, and they're all hyped to be there. I mean, they're in the German division of Riot Games, so I don't know if this translates to the American division, but they're having fun. Studio atmosphere is great, and if the developers are being treated right, it's always a good thing to have. A good thing to have developers being treated right. That's actually a nice closing statement. And that's a topic for another podcast, talking about how game
working
developers
conditions in
being
game
treated
studios or what?
Yeah, being treated in the industry generally. I mean,
true.
It's always hard because you don't want to. You're not there yourself, and you don't want to call studios out, because everyone deals with their own demons, and people are trying to fix them and getting, like, improving the studio, improving the game, improving. And so you don't want to, like, make people attack people or something, and then we never want to do that.
Also, you don't want to say something that's wrong while not being actually part of their interior processes or having been part of them.
Exactly.
Before, so
this is also something that we will never do. We'll never just randomly attack anyone or studios or whatever. It's just that's a rude thing. If you've got nothing nice to say, just don't say anything. Except if it's so bad that you have to say something because shit needs to change.
You can't hold it back. Yes.
Yeah. If shit needs to change, then shit needs to change. Nothing else to say about it.
There's this one website, darkpatterns.something. You can probably find it on Google. If Valorant has all the dark patterns, then we're probably gonna say bad things about the game. But if it's not having any of those, I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah, I'm just checking up I think it's called darkpattern.games. And on that website you can see some of the dark patterns that are being employed by some games. Yeah, it's darkpatterns.games.
I think that site specifically only focuses on dark patterns in mobile games, I think.
No, just in gaming in general. The definition sentence reads, a gaming dark pattern is something that is deliberately added to a game to cause an unwanted negative experience for the player with a positive outcome for the game developer. That's not true for all the dark patterns. I mean, some dark patterns are also giving the player a positive experience and the developer, but they're still predatory in nature.
Are they still dark? When it's
is it a light
pattern? Positive experience? Yeah, pattern.
You always bring Star Wars into everything.
A sunshine pattern.
A sunshine pattern.
The dark and good side. Yeah. Come to the light side. We have dark patterns.
There's patterns everywhere in games. You want to make things satisfying, and one of the hardest challenges in game development or game design in general is making the core loop satisfying and making people feel awesome with the fucking framework of your game. And I mean, you're employing patterns there as well. If you hit in Street Fighter, if you hit in a roguelike and stuff is flickering and you have this micro freeze on contact on collide, and you have cool juicy sound effects, and everything that's happening at that point is there to stimulate and make the impact cooler. And in essence, they are using dark patterns because they want to make you addicted to their core loop. They want to make the game fun, and they want you to play the game a lot. So, but that's what you want as well. So it's not a dark pattern because you want to play the game. So you want to be addicted to the game. You want to love the game.
Oh, making the player keep on playing, basically. I recently read another article that one EA game, I'm not sure which one, probably Star Wars again, has this matchmaking thing of setting up lobbies, which are for one game super balanced. Both teams are at the same skill level. For the next game, they're scrambling the teams, making one team super overpowered and one team super bad. So the one team will steamroll the other. So they don't have as much cognitive load because the intensity for each round isn't as high. They have an easy game, then they have a challenging game. They have an easy game, they have a challenging game. And each time they scramble the players, they have this, you keep the players in the flow state to stay in the game and be able to spend, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I think it's the same in CS a little bit, at least from a purely subjective feeling side of things. Yeah. That we sometimes have matches where the enemies are super
stomping us hard, or better, even though they shouldn't
stomping us hard are better. And then we have this game which is super easy. We win 16-2 or something. And so yeah, that's probably also a thing existing.
Keep you playing also. Yeah, I think there are some games who fully employ that, definitely. But I think that's a good way to wrap things up. I mean, I think we're out of time for now. I hope
for this episode, yes.
Yes, for this episode. I hope you enjoyed our first after intro episode, and if you liked it, leave us a review on iTunes or all the other wherever you're listening to this. It really helps us a lot. And if you want to give us feedback, you can get into the Patreon exclusive Discord server. Just text us on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll read it all.
We're on all the socials.
We're on all the socials. It's always at Industry Idiots, or on Twitter it's at Idiots Industry. And we are listening to all the feedback, and we'll read everything. And thank you for listening.
And if you can't remember any of those handles, you just go to industryidiots.com, and then we have all the socials linked there.
Yes. All right. Thank you for joining. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.